Rolling, I'm ready. Okay, let Michael Lee get situated.
Oh, blow Mike. Always holding things up.
All right, here we go. Street Soldiers A block.
I'm so glad you're joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. You can find me and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Lisa Evers, official and verified. In this episode, we're taking on an issue that we've been hearing people talk about in all quarters, all areas of the country, and even beyond. It's who can use the N-word. Is it a racial slur? Does it remain a racial slur because it sure is being used that way in some places? Or is it a term of endearment? Is it a slang term that people use that does not have the negative meaning anymore? That's what we're talking about with our panel. And joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers, Wordsmith the Illest. He's a hip-hop artist from East New York, Brooklyn. You've seen him featured in a variety of hip-hop platforms from Double XL and also mainstream television shows like America's Got Talent. And he's working on a new project, Top Secret, that's going to come out in the spring. Wordsmith, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
We really appreciate it. Also joining us is Hawk Newsome. He's a New York-based community activist. He's also the president of Black Lives Matter in New York. Hawk, great to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Also with us is Frank Harris III. He's a journalism professor at Southern Connecticut State University. He's also a documentary filmmaker with a new film called Journey to the Bottom of the N-Word, and he's also a columnist for the Hartford Courant. Frank, I want to start with you so that we all know what we're talking about here. And we're not going to use the N-word out of respect for everybody who, may find offense to it. In terms of the N-word ending in ER and the N-word ending in A, are they the same word from what you've been able to find out?
Well, I believe it's the same word. I know that there are distinctions made today with the A at the end symbolizing to many people a term of endearment. And I've spoken to a lot of people, and they will also say that this is something created by the hip-hop artists, rap artists, adding an A to it. In my research, however, I found that the word with the A on it has been around for as long as the ER has been around. So it's not anything new. I kind of think of the word as being the same, as having the same meaning in my respect. I don't use the word in either form unless I'm talking about in the context of talking about the word itself.
And the discussion, Wordsmith the Illest, you're from East New York. You can't go anywhere in a lot of cities, including New York, on the streets, on the trains. You hear people talking, yo, my N, like that.
Yeah.
And it's so common in conversation. How do you feel about it?
I'm from East New York, and I'm a young person at hip hop, and we use it as we do use it as a term of endearment. It does be like, yo, my was good, you know what I mean? But also at the same time, like, I have to check like some of my white friends when they used it, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, listen, you can't. This isn't for you right now. This isn't inclusive to your struggle right now. This is about me and how I interact with my people, of a certain skin tone, of a certain background, Afrocentric people, and that's just how I feel about it.
Hawk, what about you? How do you feel about the N-word, the way it's being used in our culture right now?
I believe that the word is our property. We own it. It's our privilege to use it with one another. I don't think that any person from any other culture or race has the right to tell us when and how to use it. Would I like to see us move forward and pass this word? Yes. As a man who's engulfed in the community and engulfed in this movement, I believe that black people need to rebrand themselves in a much more positive way. Lately, you've heard a lot of brothers call themselves beloved, king, queen, brother, sister. I'd like to see us uplift each other with our vernacular as opposed to using a word that's kind of sketchy. But at the same time, there's a unity in using the N-word.
Frank, what about that?
I mean, that may be true among some brothers, and I use the word brothers, and that's the word that I kind of like that word.
You prefer that?
I prefer brother. I said, well, instead of my N, my brother, my sister, and that's what I grew up with. I'm older than both of you, I'm sure, and I grew up in the late 60s, early 70s. That's what we heard. That's my brother, my sister. I was on a radio show in Connecticut once, and a caller came in and said, we earned the right to use that word. And I said, seriously, I don't think, there's a lot of things that black people in this country have experienced over the years, over the centuries. And the right to call each other the N-word is not something I'm going to hang my hat on. It's something that I want to be.
You don't think that's progress?
I don't think it's progress. I think it's regression, in my view. That's my view.
Well, what about the situation we're at now? And the reason we wanted to do the show is because we've all heard people who are not black, who are not African American, using the word because they hear it in hip hop. And then where do you draw the line? Hip hop, as you know, where it's been, is international. The culture is very diverse now. A lot of our black artists from the United States make their money in other countries where they perform in front of people that may not even speak English, and they have, as Frank had mentioned in the past, they think that this is a cool word to use.
Yeah, it's so hard because it's like, you know, I like personally me, I try to keep my music a little positive, just, you know, reality based. And like one time I was at like a Kanye concert, you know what I mean? And then, you know, obviously he used the N-word, and it's like a row of like Indian people next to me. It's a row of Spanish people next to me. It's a row of white people in front of me. And he's like, I think he has one, I forgot what song it is, but it's just like, yo, everybody say, and it's like,
well,
everybody
Paris,
say, because it's in the song. So
right.
It's like, how do I take that it's in the song? Do I take it with offense, or do I take it that hip hop has become so vast that people actually want to be this, but then.
But how would you take it as an artist? Because let's say you'll make it to the point where Kanye is, you have a big hit song like "And in Paris" was for him,
Facts.
and you have a fan base that is extremely diverse, that's supporting your music, supporting your movement, and then you see people of different races, different ethnicities, different colors using that N-word in your song. How do you feel about that?
It's such a double-edged sword, because that like, for them just to know my music would be amazing, but then to know the pain that, you know, that word inflicts, it's like, damn, man.
What about that in the music? Because some of the artists have, African American artists,
Yeah.
hip hop artists have spoken out and said, listen, if it's in the context of a concert or a club and they're singing along with a song, or you know, or with the lyrics or the rhymes, it's okay. But in casual conversation, it's not.
I mean,
What do you think about
realistically,
that?
the way I present myself, I don't care where I'm at. People don't feel comfortable using that word around me. Okay, like you have some people, you know, some white people who try and use the word and just see how you. No, don't use it. It's off limits. Period. You walk into some of the bodegas, and you know, you have our brothers who are from Yemen or other countries, and they, hey, my N-word from the Middle East, like, hey, no, that's not for you. We have to check people. Like I said, this is our property. Like, we have to check people. We have to let them know. And I understand it's in the music, it's there. Like I said before, I would like to see us move away from the word, but this isn't something that you're just going to snap your fingers and have it go away. It can be phased out over time. But right now, no.
I'm
no one
gonna
else
keep it
uses that
1,000.
word.
I don't know if I really want the word phased out. Like as much as like they're trying to phase out like slavery from like the history books. This is a reminder. It's kind of like a reminder of that. No, this is existing.
Frank, what about that?
So
And you got a lot to say.
so many things I can
And guys,
answer.
we'll just jump in.
In the beginning of my documentary film, I have words coming across the screen and saying, it's a slave word. We rattle. It's a link to our past, and it's a slave word. It's what white men, what white masters called black slaves, and it was the N-word. And the black slaves imitated their masters and called each other that because that's the word that was used. That's what they would.
And you say there's no erasing that history.
I mean, things change over time, and I understand the context of endearment and so on. I mean, I once used the word when I was a teenager growing up. I mean, I used the word despite being called that word with stones thrown at me. I used that word despite being spat on by a little white boy who could barely talk. But at some point, I said, it doesn't make any sense. Why am I calling myself or calling other black people, allowing other black people to call me that word that hurt me and that I don't want any white person or anybody else who's now black to call me?
And we're gonna take a short break. We'll come right back. And where do you find these rules, and who writes these rules, and who accepts these rules, and what about all the incidents that have been happening lately to African American men, where you have teens who are not black, not white, but from different countries testing out whether they can use the word and being insulted by it and being hurt. We're going to find out what our guests have to say. This is Street Soldiers. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. We'll be right back.
I'm enjoying this.
So can we come back and get that 100-year-old woman was? She said that she was called with the A.
Scotty, you keep rolling.
Was that, did I misunderstand that, or?
Let's stop. Let's stop.
I didn't see that distinguish it was in
Or
terms
just
of
her
her age. She
accent.
just, yeah, it's probably, and that's the thing too, is that in the South, you had the
Right.
UH, you had the A, and you even had just NIG without anything of being called, you know, in that sense of the word. So, it's a fascinating topic, and one thing I don't take it personal for those who do use the word, because I've heard so many different stories, but I think it's important to really know the root of what you're saying, you know, and as I said in my film, it's like this film is like, think of the N-word as a cigarette, and my film as the Surgeon General.
Okay, hold on one second. We'll take a short break. We'll come back.
All right?
Ready?
Let's,
Take for granted the fact that people know their history. They know the history.
I don't think.
What about the origin, like the word, like the word,
Right.
what's it, professor? Like N-E-G-U-S?
New York.
Negus?
Yeah.
King?
Command.
I have not
Never heard that one.
I don't understand. This was like an ancient tribe. They were like warriors and kings, and it was like Negus versus Negus. Nick Cannon, he actually, if you go to his Instagram page, he did some spoken word on it.
I
Okay.
have to, I
Okay.
obviously didn't see that one.
all right, here we go. All right, Scotty, got me?
Yeah.
All right, cool, here we go. Street Soldiers, Block B.
Welcome back to Street Soldiers. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Lisa Evers, verified and official. Don't go for the bootleg pages or sites, please. And in this episode, we're talking about a topic that so many of you have come up to me on the streets and said, Lisa, you need to do another show on this. You need to talk about this. And this is the N-word. We hear it everywhere. Some people are using it. Some people still don't use it, no matter what the circumstances. And then there's a whole big gray area in the middle of pitfalls, where if you do use it, if you repeat lyrics, you can get into big trouble or insult somebody when you don't mean to do that. That's what we're talking about with our panel right now. Joining us, Wordspit the Illest. He's a hip-hop artist from East New York, Brooklyn. He's been featured in a variety of platforms, from XXL Magazine to mainstream TV shows like America's Got Talent, and congratulations on all that. It's really great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good to see the New York rappers doing it, you know, making moves. Also with us is Hawk Newsome. He's a New York-based community activist, and he's the president of the New York chapter of Black Lives Matter. Hawk, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it. Also with us is Frank Harris III. He's a journalism professor at Southern Connecticut State University in New Haven. He's also a documentary filmmaker. His film is called Journey to the Bottom of the N-Word, and it's starting to get a lot of attention. And he's also a columnist with the Hartford Courant. Let's talk about this issue of the teens, what you described with what happened to you, where a Middle Eastern teen said, used the N-word to you, thinking it was okay because he wasn't white. Where does he find the rules about that's not cool if he's new to the United States?
What they do is they hide behind hip hop. They say, "Hey, it's the culture. I wear these clothes. I wear these kicks. I carry myself a certain way. So it's all right for me to do this." But I want, you said something about rules. So I want to make this extremely clear. I want to be as unambiguous as possible. The rules are written by the establishment, by white America. White America tells us to forget racism. They tell us to forget slavery, but they don't have a problem with us degrading ourselves. Actually, records are pumped out into our communities with us track after track degrading each other, degrading our women, speaking about glorifying violence in our communities. However, you don't hear derogatory marks about homosexuals. You don't hear derogatory.
Well, no, that's not Hawk. That's
no.
not.
What I'm saying is, it's not broadcasted over every station.
Yeah, but it's not
all the
white.
time.
It's not the whites in power that are forcing blacks in hip hop to use the N-word.
But for a long time, these people were in control
Historically,
of
it's
these
in
record
the
labels.
era of slavery, but I'm
They
talking
were in
about in
control of these
2017 when
record
you can
labels.
make your own music. You make your own music on a laptop.
Yeah.
And create a career off a laptop to music. It's like it's the culture is controlling that.
Well, when you train a dog, right? Sometimes you just have to call out a word and that dog will run and carry out that task. We have been conditioned, we have been brainwashed to think that this is the way you make money. This is the way you have fun. Right now we have to rebrand ourselves. Like I said, we have to rethink the way we carry ourselves. That's how we get away from this. There are rappers out there, Kadir Latif, there are people like Tip, there are people like Nick Cannon who have come out and made positive messages with their music.
Without a doubt.
We have to set that trend, make that the new norm.
But they're not the ones that the 18 and 19 and 17-year-olds are following and making
One
into huge
thing
stars.
is this with hip hop, I don't think it's I personally don't think it's wrong to use the N-word in hip hop because cool. We have some people that are definitely negative, but you have some people who use it that's in a positive light. Nas used it for most of his career. Like you got Kendrick Lamar that uses it. No, I mean it's just really about.
It'd be hard to find a hip hop artist that doesn't.
Especially it's really hard to find a hip hop artist that
I thought
doesn't.
hip hop was based in originality. I thought we created waves. I didn't know that we followed waves.
How
Can't
are
we
we
be
following
different?
waves?
Because this is what everybody else is doing. Who's doing something else?
So are you saying people know, but you feel like nobody should use it? Like Frank says that this word has been dragged in the chains of slavery, dragged in, the past is being dragged into the present.
I mean, there was, I interviewed this guy in San Diego, the barbershop, black barbershop in San Diego, and I have a picture of him in my film, and he's got his fist raised, and then behind him are his ancestors. And he says that it's N-I-G-G-A is N-I-G-G-E-R. It's the same, he said. It's you're trying to turn a negative into a positive. You can't make that into a positive. That's his view. And I kind of agree with it. But let me just say one other thing too. You mentioned about the guy from another country wearing the clothes and so forth, and that he felt that he got the culture, and that's maybe why he felt he had the right to say it. Well, I got on one of my blog sites, I have people submit their experiences with the N-word. And I got a letter, actually a email and a picture from this black man who's teaching an American school in Turkey. And he says all of the students there think that N-I-G-G-A is the official name of black people because, and he said, how can he blame them? Because that's what he turns on the radio, he gets the music, he sees the shows. He believes that that's the proper name to call black people because that's all he's been taught. That's all he's seen. And that's from us. Now, we've got the producers doing it and so forth and marketing it. But that's black people saying this word repeatedly. Now, whether it came from the hip-hop artists or from the community back to them, it's been nourished and cultivated. And so we have to take responsibility for that. We have to own up to the fact that we're the ones keeping the word alive more so than white people.
Who's keeping the oppression alive?
Well,
we're being treated like the N-word more so than anything. So why wouldn't we identify with it? Those of us who are not in an enlightened position where they could say, "Hey, I don't identify with this. I am more. I am king."
But then why keep using the word?
We can't just move away from it. We have to. It has to be a slow integration. Right now, I have a campaign going on throughout New York City, teaching people how to vote all over again. Okay, and I'm using kids to do this. It's about retraining, it's reprogramming people. These things won't happen overnight. Everybody wants immediate gratification, but that's not gonna happen.
Let me ask this question. You use the word, right?
Yeah.
Use the N-word, use the N-word?
Yeah.
Occasionally.
Okay. You use it a lot, right?
I don't know if I use it a lot, but I use it.
Well, let me ask you something. Could you stop?
I can stop anything.
Could you stop using the N-word?
Of course.
You could go a day without saying it?
Yeah.
2 days?
I can go a whole
See,
year.
sound getting a little slow if you
No,
responsible.
I can go. Listen, I can go a whole.
There's a movement.
I got a different kind of willpower. Once I stop something, I can just stop it.
So what you're saying then is that you could stop. Now, if you could stop, why couldn't other people stop saying it? Why
Respect.
couldn't we make an effort to say,
Hawk,
call your
what,
brothers,
okay, what about the
I think-
professor's point? What about the professor's point? Because let me just inject a note in here. We all know how the culture works. We all know how American culture works. Change can happen instantly. Attitudes can happen instantly. Things can go viral instantly. We've seen stop the shooting. We've seen examples where neighborhoods have gone a certain number of days without having any violence, that type of thing. Why not a day without using the N-word and see what happens? What do you think about that?
Okay, if you chose.
Isn't that sending a message to everybody?
It would, but you wouldn't be able to pull that off in a day.
What?
Okay, you'd have to plan that months ahead because you'd have to spread the word.
Right.
You'd have to raise awareness. You'd have to teach people, right,
Right.
Professor? You teach?
Yes.
You'd have to teach people why they shouldn't use this word, why they should move away from the word.
But wouldn't that start the discussion? What do you think about that,
Well,
Professor?
I think we tweet something, call your brothers, call your sisters, stop the N-word, or, respect yourself. Now, and I understand I'm an older guy, I've been around, and my view is different from younger people's view, but there are a lot of young people, young black people, who also don't like the word and don't like calling each other that word. And I'm not in any way disparaging those who use the word. As I said when we were off camera, I don't take it personal, but I just think we could do a lot better with ourselves. Words and names matter. What we call ourselves and what we call each other, it matters. And I think that's important to think about and to remember.
All right, so words, you say words are important. What we call ourselves is important. We're going to continue this discussion. This is Street Soldiers. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. We'll be back right after this.
You have to get to the kids to find out how to word the tweet. You know what I mean? Because it has to be in there.
We're going to keep going here. You want to-
Pop this side down a little bit.
This side?
Yeah.
Reprogramming.
It's taking this just.
Yeah, right about the reprogramming. And as we know, like, change isn't instant.
Yo, hi.
Oh, good.
As much as you want to think
Can you give me a bottle of water?
It's still the same. You know, and I say it's still the same because we still suffering the same it's still high. The economy is still low. It's still treated unfairly.
Even after a black president.
Yeah, that
even
one
after
second
a
just
black
went-
president.
We
So
still get killed
change
for
ain't
It's
as
just- it's like
spontaneous
having a
as
wild
people
animal.
would want it to say.
Yeah.
Who wants
Just
to
does
think
what
of
it wants to do.
And
It doesn't listen.
it is a harsh
No
reality.
obedience school
I
in
feel
Cologne.
it's a harsh reality that you can go to Turkey and they
Thank you very
that's
much.
Black people, but is that
Dehydrated.
black people
That,
they're
oh, that
not
little one?
listening to the
Yeah.
entire message of the music, or they're just or they're in their minds filtering out the message of the music.
Are you
if they're
liking
only because it's a
you thinking
variety
of that?
of artists that
I'm about
can
to
use
send it
that
off. I'm
that
telling you right
use nigga in the context with positive, not the word nigga itself, but the message around what they're saying. You know what I mean? And nigga
Oh, yeah?
is a provocative word.
You have a lot.
I just feel like that. It's a provocative. That's why people want to use it because it's a provocative word. It's an
No, that's
enticing
wait,
word.
hold on, we're coming right back. Am I okay? Are you happy?
But is it really provocative?
Yeah, just do this one.
So much, it becomes, I won't say another word, but it becomes just a word that.
See, I'm not seeing the back. I'm just.
Lisa, everyone can
seeing
do
the-
every
It
job.
takes a village.
I kind of want to
I'm a
ask.
street soldier, not a criminal.
I'll ask you on camera. Have you ever been called that word by someone who's not black?
I broke his nose in Louisiana.
Oh, God.
Okay. By someone who wasn't black.
I had to check it. One of my friends.
Let me tell you something, you can be called the white end too.
What's the white cracker?
No, they go,
Stupid.
No, I wasn't
you
going
had somebody in the
Y'all ready?
document, I've been called that,
Yeah.
I've been on posters
Stand
like
right
that.
there.
That's crazy.
Lisa and Lover,
Yeah.
Alright. Scott, you ready?
the white end.
Yeah,
Jeff, you ready?
I am.
Lisa, you ready?
You wear my Latin heritage, okay.
Alright,
Wait,
rolling.
wait, give me one second. What is that?
It took me a minute to realize Spanish people used it a lot more than black people.
Who uses it like that?
What?
Spanish
I would like to talk about that.
I was in
No,
the-
that's what we're gonna talk about next, we're gonna talk about where do you get the
I
pass?
was in the car and
All right,
every
guys,
word was everywhere.
the polite get to know you phase is over.
Scott, you rolling?
Yeah, I'm rolling.
Alright,
Okay.
rolling.
All right, here we go. C block.
As opposed to D block. Everywhere we go. Welcome back to Street Soldiers. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. We're talking about the N-word. Are there new rules for who can use it, or is it still the same and people are just confused? That's what we're talking about with our guest. Joining me, Wordspit the Illest. He's a hip-hop artist from East New York, Brooklyn. You've seen him featured in a variety of platforms, from XXL Magazine to mainstream TV shows like America's Got Talent, and he's working on a new secret project that's going to come out in the spring. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
We really appreciate it. Also with us is Hawk Newsome. He's a New York-based community activist and president of Black Lives Matter of Greater New York. Hawk, great to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Also with us is Frank Harris III. He's a journalism professor at Southern Connecticut State University. He's also a documentary filmmaker with a new film out called Journey to the Bottom of the N-Word that a lot of people are talking about. And he's also a columnist for the Hartford Courant. All right, I want to get down to some basics. Now, we're talking about society in America as if it's black and white, and it isn't anymore. The fastest growing group, one of the fastest growing groups in America, are biracial and multiracial people. So who decides if you're half black and half white, but you have a light complexion, like a Jesse Williams, can he use the N-word?
He's black, yeah. I feel like anybody that's black can. I kind of draw a line when people deny like their heritage. Like I know most, some of my Latino brothers deny that they have, Afrocentric lineage behind them, and they just want to freely just be like in blah blah blah. And then I gotta kind of look at you kind of weird.
Wait, so if somebody Latino uses the N-word, you don't like that?
No, I don't like when they deny their heritage.
What
and
he's
then they
saying
want
What is
to
he
use
saying?
What he's saying is, if they acknowledge their Afro-Latino roots, then sure, use the word. But if you only, if you're not acknowledging the blackness within
But
you,
how
then
do
the
you
word's
know if
off
somebody just says,
limits.
hey, my aunt on the street, how do you do that, like a quick record check to find out whether or not they're acknowledging their Afrocentric roots?
would
How do you
be-
do that?
Well, maybe you need to run a G-check. Maybe you need to ask them.
No,
Okay?
A
maybe,
G-check.
maybe you need to ask them where they stand and how they feel about the
G-check.
issue.
Well, and
Frank, what about that? I'm just being,
Might have to
I'm
run a
just
check.
keeping it out
Yeah.
there.
I mean, the Latinos from Mexico would not have the Latino roots as someone maybe from Puerto Rico or somewhere like that. So, I mean, what you're really getting down to is really skin complexion, I think. You're looking at the color of this. Now, that's not to say a light-skinned black person versus a Hispanic who is marked white on the census report. Because most Hispanics in the census when race was first, provided as an option, chose white. So, it's not necessarily.
But what about people from all the different countries, like the Middle Eastern
Right.
countries,
Yeah.
immigrants? What about them? You got offended when a man from Yemen used the N-word with you.
Yeah,
If
because-
he had been black African American, would you have been okay with that?
Yes. I
What
would've
about
been okay
and what
with
about if you use the word with somebody who's from Africa now,
Uh-huh.
who's an immigrant from Nigeria or from Liberia or one of the other countries, and doesn't want to be called that at all?
That's his prerogative.
Right.
I'm because at that point I'm offending him, just like I'd be offended if someone called me something I want
Right.
to be called. Now we have a congressman in New York City called Esplanade, Congressman Esplanade. He's uptown, Washington Heights. He just-
Adriano Espaillat.
Yes. He just tried to get into the Congressional Black Caucus, and he identified himself as Afro-Latina. There was a big story all over the papers. Now, we have Dominicans in this city who are just as black as me.
Right.
And the programming of the oppressor, I'm going back to that establishment, which says, hey, I believe in Pan-Africanism. I believe in black liberation. So I don't care where you are in the world. If you have African roots, you're my brother and my sister. However, the oppressor wants us divided. So they say, hey, you're Latino. You're not like the rest of these
But
black
if the
people.
N-word was used in the past,
Uh-huh.
during slavery, which nobody is disputing at all, blacks, whites, all historians, correct me if I'm wrong here, Frank, if that was the tool of the oppressor, why continue to use it and create confusion and create dissension among people?
So
Why continue to use it?
Why doesn't anyone have a problem with the word boy? They call grown men boys. Now people refer to themselves as them as their boys. Professor, I'd like to ask you that.
Okay.
Well, no. First, I want you to answer
Okay.
what I'm asking you.
Okay.
Is it why continue to use that? Is it you can never take the history away from it?
You can't, but we have taken something that was deep, dirty, and disgusting. We remixed it and made it something that's popping, that's lit, that's us, our culture.
Right.
Now the problem is, it's our culture, and we have to know when to code switch. We have to know when not to
Yeah,
use
but there's
it and
no
what
book
settings
that
we
you
can't.
there's no book you can download about when to code switch, about
This is-
when
well,
when to use this, who can use this.
I mean,
If you're a
realistically-
quarter Latino and you like African American culture, can you use it? Is that okay?
I mean-
it's all about appearances.
It is. Now that's just like, I do a lot of work with kids, right? And a lot of these kids like to wear their pants sagging. And I tell them, yo, when you go to this particular place, you should know when you have to pull those
Right,
pants up. That's
right.
code switching, right?
Right.
Like, and a lot of older people just
And
like
some
they
people
have,
just say it's dressing appropriately for the circumstance. If you're on the
That's it.
streets, it's one thing. If you're at somebody's wedding or funeral, it's
Yeah.
another thing.
Now my
Right?
thing is, they say, oh, look at these kids, it's the end of the world, the way they pants, the way they wear their pants. Were these elders who say this now, were their parents cool with their afros, platform shoes, and bell bottoms? Were their parents cool with the men running around in high heels with bell bottom 6 silk shirts?
Okay, now I gotta bring it
Like-
back to the N word because we only have a certain amount of time. Frank, what about that? I see the wheels
I
turning there.
was about to address the platform shoes and stuff.
I know that's such a great visual, but let me bring it back to the N word because we're getting a lot of comments from our viewers. Sharon Reed says, "What is the double standard? Why is there a difference? Why can white people be called whitey or the C word? That there's a double standard and it has not been addressed."
There is a double standard. There's a double standard with regards to the word. And first of all, it should be understood. Everyone has a First Amendment right to say this.
To use whatever, absolutely.
You have a First
And I think
Amendment
everybody
right to
here
say
agrees with that.
Now, I don't really want to hear anybody use the word. If I don't want to hear white people use it, I don't want to hear my own people use it. I don't want to hear Hispanic people using it. I mean, it's really
Toxic to
that's-
you. It's
that's-
toxic, period, to you.
I don't allow people to use the word in my home. I
Right.
don't allow them to use it in my classroom. Now, that is not to say that the word should not ever be used. I interviewed Charlie and Gunter Hawk, who was basically, when she integrated the University of Georgia, she tells people, she wasn't called the word N-word, she was called the word. And when she goes around and talks to students, this is what she told me when I interviewed her, she has to use the word in some cases. So I'm not saying the word should be banned completely. Sometimes you have to say the word. But I do think that
The saturation in music.
the saturation in music, I just think I don't
You
like
think
it.
it's too much?
Personally, I don't like it. I think it's too much. I don't think it's really, it's not a matter of reclaiming the word or anything like that. It's not a word that I want to claim as a word that's my culture.
Well, what about that? And then also too, in terms of the way it's used, there was the argument, because we've been talking about this, many times on Street Soldiers, the N-word and the history and the current use as well. It was one thing when people would say this is used within the black community, and then it's okay, and then it was understood. But now, as the professor said, the music, most people, and you know this, Wordsmith, a lot of people are listening to music on apps. They're listening to music streaming services. We play on the radio. We play the clean versions of songs.
Yeah.
There's no cursing. There's no N-words. No any of that. But the versions that most teens want to listen to are the dirty versions and the ones that have these words in them, especially the N-word, because they think that's cool.
I think they think it's cool because it's like everybody that's, obviously that's not black think it's cool because it's such a provocative word. You know what I mean? Like, it's something that you're not supposed to say. Like, even when I look at like some of my other friends are from other cultures, it's like, yo, bro, why are you even comfortable saying that around me? You know what I mean? And it does fall into that double standard to where it's like we know, but we also have really just taken that and just made it powerful, because I don't think nothing has changed personally in America. I think everything is
Nothing has changed since when?
I think we made leaps and bounds, obviously, since slavery, but I still feel like we're still in poverty. I still live in a place where I could go the next train stop and it's a Whole Foods. You know what I mean? But the next train stop over, somebody's getting killed. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, how much did stuff change? You know what I mean? I live in an area
There's
where
a much larger black middle class. There's many more Black Americans in college. There've been a lot of improvements, but there's still problems. To be sure, there's still problems. There's still racism. Is something you can't give people a test and say you passed it. Okay, it's over and done with. To be sure, there's problems. We deal with a lot of those in our communities as well, and I report on a lot of them. But in terms of progress, I think to say there's been no progress is I can't let you get away with it.
I'm not saying that there's no progress. No, I'm sorry for even saying that. What I'm saying is, yes, we have made tremendous steps in progress, but I personally still live in the fire. I still live where they are gentrifying my neighborhood and they are pushing a lot of black people out. Big time, and East New York is next. That's next on the list.
New York is already on the way.
Yeah, like somebody.
Okay, but let me. The gentrification thing is a very important issue, but let me bring it back to the N-word, because the thing isn't it just a simple solution to say, okay, we're going to have, as you're saying, you prefer to start evolving into another word, and then there's no confusion, because America is still, the vast majority of America is still white. So when they see black rappers using the N-word, they're calling themselves that, so it's okay for me to use it. They may not even understand there's a difference between the ER and the A.
They know that it's different. They know that blacks have a problem with white people saying this, and if they want to use that word, let them use it at their own risk. Anybody else from another culture who wants to use that word, they should look out for their surroundings because they might catch something coming from around. No, I'm serious. I'm serious. You might get hurt.
I think a lot of people would agree with you about that, because and we've seen different artists not use. Eminem never used that word, for example, and knew. What, Professor?
About the music thing, one of my childhood buddies, Larry Chapman, he works with Dr. Dre. And I met Dr. Dre in LA a year or so ago.
Did he give you some headphones?
I wanted to interview Dr. Dre and ask him about the word, but I was there with my friend, a childhood buddy, and I didn't want, so I didn't get a chance to talk with him exactly. But we talked about other things. But I talked with Stat Quo, who was a rapper who was there with us, and I asked him about the use of the word. And he said, well, he does use it in his music, and he said sometimes it bothers him a little bit when he'd be hearing whites, singing along with the song, whatever. So I asked him, do you think you would stop using it? He says, no way. And I said, why not? And he said, it's a habit. It's just a habit. And like he said, habits are hard to break. And I think that there are a lot of people who have the word as a habit. Now, I asked you earlier.
Like cigarette smoking.
Like cigarette smoking. And I asked you earlier, whether you could stop. I've had people tell me that they don't think they can stop. It's very difficult. It's like a habit. They're so used to saying it, they can't let it go. And what I'm just saying is, let it go.
But I feel like what he said earlier too, it does take a certain level of reprogramming.
You just told me you had
let's talk about
No. Don't get it twisted.
Don't get it twisted. We have to take a break. Don't get it twisted. I'm Lisa Evers. Street Soldiers will be right back.
Word spit. I won't say word smith.
Mama told me not to sell.
No, what I'm saying is
you got real stuff, right?
No, facts.
Could you plug the Black Lives Caucus?
Yeah, when is it?
It's an initiative to build a black voting bloc by the next New York City primary. That's September.
Right.
But it's a Black Lives.
So it's a voter empowerment.
Yeah.
A voter education.
Voter literacy. Drive.
Voter literacy. That's a better word. Thank you.
Go ahead.
No, what you saying?
You were saying something.
No,
Are we what segment are we on?
Both. What I'm saying.
Oh my gosh.
I do
Hey
feel,
guys.
me, I personally have willpower.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But
So it's not a matter of will, it's just a matter of whether you want.
No, I think we're good. Are we still live on Facebook?
There's a little deep thought there. You should work that into one of your songs,
Nah, but I feel like, I do
Okay,
feel
guys,
like
we have to. Sorry.
The team.
I know. It's cool. No, it's cool, but we're on the clock.
Okay.
Yeah. He's got 3 other jobs he's got to go to.
Hey, man.
He still holds me down.
In living color. The Hey Moms. You don't remember the Hey Moms? On in living color. Yeah.
We all have different jobs.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of jobs.
What's wrong?
Oh,
Okay, so-
sorry,
so-
ran out.
Okay,
Ran
hold on
out?
a second. Let's get-
32 gig, right?
Yeah, 35 minutes
Some of the
already.
lyrics in my mind.
We've been filming
17.5 cent color t-shirt. Okay. So this is our last segment. So let's look, you know, let's talk about, we'll talk about, you know, moving forward, like how do we move forward? Because it's a matter of time before somebody, you know,
71
again, the
minutes,
immigrant calls
before I
an
had
African-American man the N-word,
I saw
and
that.
somebody's gonna get.
Because I was seeing your time, I'm
You know,
like,
there's gonna be something
I
like
guess,
that.
because you're on
Well, I would like
ABC
to
intro,
think
right?
that some of them
You're on ABC?
country,
Yeah.
they probably didn't know
This is,
what they
DVC.
said. That's what I would like to think.
I thought that's an ABC.
Really not be
No, I
bad.
think it's just that people are,
They usually never have
I
to
think
switch it,
people
that's
are-
so.
Yeah.
a lot of people just
That
don't
should
know.
be
No, no,
ABC.
In other
it's
countries.
ABC 100.
Side right
Instead of
now,
ABC
brother.
50.
Everybody's high strung.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the White House on down, everybody's antsy.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
the type of
Then let's get one more
Attention,
part.
that
attention.
tension.
See,
Yeah,
mine's,
you're right.
mine's
You're right.
DVC,
I
just
really
HD,
don't.
it's not a
Yeah, you never
Huh?
know.
You know what,
Mine's
this is
a
the point.
BBC.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Yours?
we're good.
Alright.
Alright.
How you doing?
You good?
I'm good.
Okay, here we go. Last block.
Welcome back to Street Soldiers. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Lisa Evers. Our focus this episode, the N-word. Are there new rules about who can use it? Because now we're hearing it and seeing it just about everywhere. That's what we're talking about with our panel. Joining me, Wordspit the Illest. He's a hip-hop artist from East New York, Brooklyn. You've seen him featured in a variety of platforms, from XXL Magazine to America's Got Talent. He's also working on a new project that'll be dropping this spring. Thank you so much for being with
Thanks
us.
for having me.
We appreciate it. Also with us is Hawk Newsom. He's a New York-based community activist and president of Black Lives Matter of Greater New York, and he's currently working on a voter literacy drive called Black Lives Caucus. Hawk, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it. Also with us is Frank Harris III. He's a journalism professor at Southern Connecticut State University. He's also a documentary filmmaker. His new film is called Journey to the Bottom of the N-Word, and he's also a columnist for the Hartford Courant. Wordspit, I want to start with you on this. When was the first time were you ever called the N-word?
First, I cannot remember the first, like by somebody else or by like people that I
By
know.
somebody else, and the N-word with the ER as a slur.
Somebody else you mean non-black.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I cannot. I don't even remember the first time. I just know one of the most recent times probably was like of last summer, and you know, I'm at my homeboy Mikey's ice cream shop in like Soho and LES and whatnot, and you know, my homeboy, he's like one of my very best friends. He comes up, you know, he's with a group of people. He's like, yo, my and I'm like, yo, bro, stop. You don't even talk to me like that in private. Like, dude.
Like trying to look. Do you think he was trying to look cool or trying to?
Yeah, he was trying to look cool. That's why I kind of.
And he was white.
Yeah,
He's
that's
white.
why I kind of just, you know, even though I said that as a reaction. Later on, I pulled him to the side, like, yo, bro, you know we.
Let me school you on this.
Yeah.
Let me.
You know what I mean?
But Hawk, what about that? Because that's the other thing too. I mean, your focus with your life's work is oppression and uplifting the Black community. But there's also a thing happening in our popular culture where the coolest stuff is coming out of the Black culture.
Right on.
Like what that's an example of.
And
whether it's sports, whether it's music, whether it's popular entertainment.
We are the influencers. We dictate culture. That's what we do, specifically here in New York. Moving ahead, like I told you, I'd like to see us use words like beloved, king, queen, brother, sister, and the N-word, it's here. I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. But let's focus on what makes that word so bad, and that's the establishment. That's the miseducation of our children. That's the failure to provide adequate jobs to our people. That's lack of options, lack of opportunities. Why is that word so bad? It's because it's tied into this oppression that we still suffer.
So what about cutting the tie? Those issues and those problems people have been working on for a long, long time. But why not cut that tie, at least with the word, and with your organization, which is very powerful and very social media savvy, start a campaign. Cut the tie, no more N-word.
Now,
Why not?
The thing is, right?
But why not?
We can attack the word. We can attack the word and
Right.
attack our people. But let's fight this oppressive system. That's my enemy. My enemy's not my people.
But if you
I'm
could
trying
change
to unify
today or
my
tomorrow,
people.
Professor, what about
I
that?
don't think that by attacking the word, we're attacking Black people. I mean, I think that we can address the word and all that surrounds it and saying this is a part of that oppression.
Right.
That we're calling ourselves that we're calling each other that, and we're getting upset when other people do it. So I really think that we need to, I mean, again, words are important. They are very important. Now, black people have been known by more names than any other group in this country. We've
Right.
been African, we've been black, we've been colored, we've been mulatto, we've been octoroon, we've been the N-word, and a whole bunch of other words. And it's always been this sense of identity. One of the things I ask people when I interview people on the N-word, I would say, how do you define yourself? And would you be okay with it if the N-word were the official name on job applications?
Whoa.
And so forth.
Heavy, heavy.
And what did people say to you when you asked them that?
Well, most of the people who were saying that they were for the N-word with the A at the end would say, "Oh, that's going a bit too far." You know, but on the other hand, I had some.
It's not a term of endearment. That would become how you identify yourself.
But that's I've had some people say, well, it's already that way. That's how we do identify ourselves as my whatever.
Yeah.
So.
But you believe
Was
words.
that
You believe words
intimate?
matter
I
and what we
believe-
call.
I believe-
Because you don't see in the LGBT community the F word, which is so hated. People going, "Hey, F," to the thing. You don't hear women go with the H word or the C word for women going, "Hey, my."
But there have been
For
women
the
who
most
call
part.
themselves, B's, and there are other group
Well, that,
members
yeah.
who call
As-
themselves
They do that.
disparaging
The
names
words are
behind
only
closed
allowed
doors.
when they apply to black people. Let's get that right.
Wait,
F
wait.
and
But you can't. But allow. Who is this? Who is
the
this?
system.
But the
We
system,
don't
the system
control
is not the one
anything.
making. But the system is not the one making the songs. The system is not the one
How long-
putting the word in
Okay.
people's mouth
How
that they're
long?
using.
How long will white people control in the record industry? Let's be realistic here. How long
Well,
will they
Hawk,
That's not
dictate
even
who
under
goes
dispute.
out here?
That's not even under dispute.
Yeah.
That's not
Okay.
even under
Can
dispute.
I
You know
just-
we talked about that, but I'm talking about 2017.
2017.
Nobody is putting that word in people's mouths
You know what?
and putting it in artists' mouths and putting it on the platforms and telling them write a song that uses the N-word at least 30 times and you're gonna have with a good beat and you're gonna have a
They
banger.
know if they do it, they will. They know if they do it, they will get paychecks. They will be popping. Just like they know if they
But you
talk
said
about
that
shooting
we
their
were-
There are
brothers
people that
and
don't even
degrading
need
their
record
sisters.
labels anymore. Look at like
Chance
Chance
is
Rap. Okay,
Chance is
that
dope.
Professor.
Chance is the dopest.
But I'm just saying, you don't.
Yeah.
He doesn't need somebody's permission to make music and create a career. He did it on. He
Well,
did it on his
God
own.
into the music was
Exactly.
awesome.
And
Yeah.
he still uses the N-word.
Okay, but
Yeah, and he still uses the
But
B
this
word.
is what I'm saying. He's
Like-
not beholden to anybody for
Yeah.
his
But
to,
it's part
to
of the
support his
cul- it's
family.
part of the
or
culture.
his lifestyle.
It's-
Right.
I think you
definitely
said,
a part of
Mark, you said earlier that black people, particularly in New York, are the ones who create the culture
Yeah.
and all of the things that are cool. So
And LA
there's no
and
right.
Atlanta.
So are you not saying that the system is responsible for that? You can't
I don't
have it.
understand what you're
Well,
saying.
you said that the system is responsible for a lot of things, but you're saying that black people are responsible for putting out the culture and the things
Yeah.
that are cool.
Right.
Yeah.
So how are we able to do that but not do other things?
Okay, here's
So
what
if
it
you're
is.
oppressed, how are you? I think the question is if you're saying Black Americans are oppressed, then how are they also able to create the culture and drive what's popular?
It's just like when we were on the plantations, we still beat our drums and had our little music thing going on. We were still able to get our little groove on. Black people are soulful people. People like our
there's a
soul.
lot more.
People like our soul. I understand what you're saying, but I would
Black
like
Americans
I told
are free. There's a lot of black
Yeah.
millionaires. There's communities where the black population is better educated and making
the
more
whole.
money than
On the
the
whole.
whites that are there or the other ethnicities
on
that
the
are there.
whole, everybody did better under Barack Obama than black people. We are always last. We vote first. Our needs are met last. We suffer.
But
Police treat us the worst.
Hawk, with all
Like,
due
come
respect,
on.
can you
We're
answer
oppressed.
Frank's question?
Why
If-
can't we change it?
But why not just change what you can change, and you can change immediately with a couple, with your thumbs right on the.
See, the thing is, you have to work on a solution, but it starts with our elders, people like Frank, really trying to understand the young people. You know what I mean? Like really
He is.
trying.
He went all over
You
the
can't-
country and the
I
world
understand,
doing it.
but he still speaks
Documenting it.
from the, like with this condescension.
You're saying he has to agree?
Here's,
Oh,
here's
no,
what they
no.
yeah,
No,
here's
Hawk,
what
he
they
said-
need
Hawk,
to do.
absolutely
No,
not.
no, there's a
Hawk,
condescension
absolutely
to it. Like I'm tired
I don't
of
think
people
there's a
talking down to our kids. When I get with our
There's not a
kids, I
condescension.
get
How is he being?
on
Give
the
me an
level.
example. He's not being
Here's-
condescending.
Here's what you need to do. I have a problem with it. it's wrong.
No,
People
why
need to do
isn't
this
he? Listen,
differently.
just first of all, on
that's-
Street
that's
Soldiers,
wrong.
everyone is entitled to their
Yeah,
own opinion,
that's
whether
it.
we agree or disagree.
That's it.
He's entitled to his
Well,
opinion, and I
It's a
heard
valid opinion.
and I heard absolutely nothing from what he said
Yeah.
that was condescending in any way.
I-
He disagrees with you on certain things,
I
which is
disagree.
fine.
But
But
it's-
that's
it's
it. So let's
almost
not get
like-
personal
No,
attacks.
it's not. It's not that. But what I'm saying is,
He he talked to everybody. He talked to a lot of people.
Listen to what I'm saying.
You guys see the documentary.
Listen to what I'm saying. It's like when you're dealing with kids,
Mhm.
everybody wants to tell kids they're talking down to these kids.
Well,
Let me finish, brother.
okay, go ahead.
Everybody's talking down. Get on the level. Look them eye to eye. You know how many gangbangers, how many kids I talk to and be like, yo, what I gotta do to get Black Lives Matter into your head? I don't tell them, here, this is what you need to do. I try to listen to them.
Okay.
Listen to them.
Okay,
and
but
come
that's
on to it.
exactly what he did.
But-
He went around he went around the country and around the world talking to people from all different backgrounds, all different generations
Mhm.
about this word. So I think he's doing that. But go ahead, Frank.
Well,
You don't need me to.
Again,
I'm just trying to be fair here.
I don't feel that I disparage you any more than you disparage me. We just share different ideas and so forth. Now, as I said earlier, I don't condemn black people for using the word. I really would prefer that they do not use the word. And that's just for me from a sense of respect for yourselves and for those who came before you. Now, again, as I said in my film, I don't expect that everybody is going to immediately stop saying the word, and that's why I said the film is.
So if we say the N-word, we don't respect ourselves?
No. Well, in my view, calling oneself the N-word is to me not respectful. That's my view. Okay, that's
And
my
that's
You
his opinion.
don't respect
That's my
yourselves.
view.
No, that's his.
Thank you, bro.
No, that's
Condescending,
his view.
Yeah, I
That's his
understand,
view.
but that's offensive.
Is it condescending
offensive.
to you to tell me as an older person that I don't have a right to say that what you're doing is disrespectful?
But see, the thing is, you don't start a conversation with people by telling them they're disrespecting themselves. You come from a place of love. You come from a place where if you really want to
Sometimes-
try
We're talking
and
about
get
apples and
these
oranges.
people-
Sometimes when you come from a place of love, you have to be the person
Tough love.
who's telling it like
Tough
it
love.
is.
Yeah.
Now, if unfortunately,
Captain Tell It
when
Like
you,
It
when
Is.
you say you're talking to children
Yeah.
and you're going at a level, for one thing, that's children. I don't think adults should be at children's level. Okay.
This is why y'all generation don't relate. This is why nobody listens to y'all. This is why.
No, I think he's
I'm serious, and I'm not being disrespectful. What I'm saying is, it's that attitude,
What-
right?
what
It's
at-
it's
what
that
at- what
it's
attitude?
that
What attitude
attitude.
are you talking
It's
about?
the young people don't know what they're doing. The young people need to listen. The young people are wrong. It's
No,
that.
he's
that's
saying
the
he
disconnect.
considers it-
That's
Or
why
he's
we're
saying-
not
he's
working
saying-
with our
I
elders.
think you're misconstruing what I'm
He's
saying. here.
saying that he considers the word
Yeah.
disrespectful. He talked to everybody. He talked to people who used it. He even talked to people who used it as a term of hate. So I understand what you're
I'm with
saying.
you.
I don't think that template fits this particular situation
I got you.
as a host. Okay, Wordsmith. Have you heard anything that changed your mind here?
About
I'm throwing this on you because we're coming up against the
my thing is
clock.
this, right? So
What's your advice to everybody who listens to hip hop who may not be African American or who maybe have a light complexion?
This is my thing. You know what I mean? And I sat here, you know, hearing everybody. I'm from the city. You know what I mean? And it's an awakening in the culture. In Facebook, on Facebook, everywhere. You know what I mean? We're not just only just using the N-word, so let's just throw that out the window. We're not just like, we're also using beloved. We also know what niggas mean. I didn't. I'm sorry, bro. I didn't know that you ain't know. No, I mean, we're also using these terms, these other terms of endearment mixed in with that, you know, beloved and all that. So I don't want people to leave this segment and just feel like we're just out here. Everything is just the N-word. Yo, you want popcorn? The N-word. Like, we're just like substituting that with everything because we
Do you
are.
think you're gonna start using it less? Honestly,
I
will you
use
think twice?
I use a wide range of things. It's just something that happens to be one of those slang terms of endearment when I greet my bro. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, yo, what's up? You know what I mean? But I could also recognize the king of my dude. Like, I could also recognize
But
the
now you
leaders
know
of my
you would
dude.
prefer you call him king.
Huh? Yeah, and then I'll
Right.
call
so, hey,
him
my friend,
king.
you're my brother.
Like, he is my brother. I went to Africa. I went to Johannesburg to perform in Johannesburg. You know what I mean? After I finished performing, light-skinned African kid, it's like, yo, what's good on my end? Son cried because of the colorism in Africa. He cried. It's like, yo, you recognize me as your brother. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like we as black people always we made soul food. We took that. We always take. We always take something and we always make it a positive and we push it forward.
All right, let's end on a positive because we're out of time on that, unfortunately.
Okay, all right.
That's definitely true, and there's so many examples throughout African American history of that happening. So big shout out to everyone who's doing everything positive in the community. But I want to thank our panel. Frank, I'll give you one last word real quick.
All I can say is that for me, I prefer to call my brothers brother.
I love you, my brother.
My brother.
I love you.
And we cool.
Yeah.
We may disagree, but you're still my brother.
That's it.
Oh, I love that. Okay, we're good with that, right?
I'll take it a step further. Like I said, I want to make a move in a positive direction, and I recognize the wisdom in our elders. So I would like to work with you to figure out how we can reach the youth.
That's cool.
All right, I love this. All right, guys,
I'm here for all y'all.
I feel so old.
All right, no, and thank you all for this discussion. All right, I really appreciate it, and I'm glad everybody, everything's moving forward in a positive way. Wordsmith, the illest hip hop artist from East New York, Brooklyn. Hawk Newsom, president of Black Lives Matter of Greater New York and the Black Lives Caucus Voter Literacy Drive, and Frank Harris III, journalism professor, Southern Connecticut State University, New Haven, documentary filmmaker. And I think you should really check this out if you like this discussion. It's called Journey to the Bottom of the N-Word. And he's also a columnist for the Hartford Courant. And I want to thank you all very, very much for being so open and being so honest about how you feel and your experiences on the show, because I know I learned a lot, and I'm sure our viewers and listeners did too. So thank you very, very much. Remember, use your mind. It's your best weapon. I hope it's your only weapon. I'm Lisa Evers. Let's push for peace.
Love it.
Very good.
Everybody stay there, after some cutaways.
We might disagree.
Stay right there, you guys.
Yeah, I'll be-
Just wait,
Excellent.
guys. Before we start the after show, which I know is gonna happen because you're gonna start talking, he's just got it. We gotta handle some. Just stay out for 1 second. We gotta handle some business here.
Yeah, you guys
Lucky, I
just
won't
look at
forget
Lisa like you're
because I need the
listening.
pictures too.